Now this I got from Mitre 10, which seems to be the only place in Australia, well, big hardware store in Australia that stocks hickory handles. As you can see, it's got a nice sweep into it, and that's hard to find in axes nowadays. It doesn't have lacquer on it. You don't want lacquer because it's bad. This is just plain untreated wood, and of course I'm going to be sanding it and linseed oiling it later on because it's still a bit rough. But anyway, besides that, you want hickory, okay? Nothing else but hickory. Hey guys, so who'd have guessed? The most important part of the axe is the axe head. Now this is a Key Steel 5-pound axe head, old Australian brand, very good. I picked it out, it only cost me $5, but it's a really nice axe head. It would be worth like $80 or some shit like that. So look around for a nice axe head because it'll serve you well for the rest of your life. Now, of course, the handle broke off because my first handle was an Australian wood and was not hickory. So, yeah, so I'm going to be handling it in this video. And at the moment it's really sharp, but I don't think I'll be showing you how to sharpen an axe in this video. I'll probably do another video called Axe Sharpening. That seems like a good title. So anyway, invest in a good axe head and see you around. So the first stage in handling the axe is deepening the cut here. I don't exactly know what it's called, but it's going to need to be deeper than this. And as you can see, the manufacturers didn't really do the best job in it. It's very one-sided. So that's easy, because all you do is you just plop on the axe head on the way you want to put it on, of course, and you put it about where you want it. Now, I'd like ideally to have a little bit sticking out. When you've laid the axe head on where you want it on the handle, you just get a simple pen or pencil, whatever you want, and you just mark it on the handle. That way you can see where you want the lines to go and where you ultimately want the shoulder of the head to sit on. In marks, this is what it should look like. The front should be lower because of the beard of the axe, and there should be 2 lines on both sides straight in the middle so you can follow them. It needs to be in the middle because that'll be a stronger and better fit of the head. And sadly, as you can see, the manufacturer didn't do too well on this side, so I'm gonna have to try to straighten it out. Hopefully yours, might already be cut all the way and isn't as sloppily done as this one is. So yeah. So you just want to get the bottom of the axe head and the top of the axe handle, of course, when you've cut the wedge in. You need to prop your head against something or put it in a vise, and you just need to push this in and see where there's resistance. And I can see already that on this side it actually fits in pretty well, but on this side I'm going to have to remove a bit of material with just a rasp, and you'll see me doing that. You'll see some little black marks. Now, that's where you want to remove the material and along the thing. As you can see, here and here are clean, which means that's probably thin enough that it will fit straight in. It should take, a few little pounds. Now I'm going to just pound it as hard as I can, if that doesn't sound wrong. And that is our finished head. I like having it stuck out a little bit. It holds the head on so much better. Some people like to use epoxy, but this dries as sort of like a super hard rubber sort of thing, whereas epoxy just dries really hard and doesn't have any flex. You need this because it can take a lot of shock, and it's wood. But this, guys, is where this really comes into play. With for something like a wooden mallet, it couldn't put in the wedges as hard, and something like a steel hammer, it will just damage the top of your axe. So we're just gonna pour this along here in a nice little stream. Smells good. I'm kidding. Don't breathe it in. It's not good. Quite a bit, I reckon. This will help grease up their wedges and keep them in longer when they're in. You're gonna need a paper towel for this. I don't have one, and you shouldn't wear thongs either. But I like to live dangerously. Out of this off camera because it's hard to put in 2 wedges. But now is the hard part. Well, not really. The easy part and the fun part. You have to smack these in hard as. Of course, I'm tapping them at the moment, but they'll progressively get harder and harder. Sorry, I had to go off camera there for a little bit. I had to really really whack it in there. But as you can see, they're flush, and they're stuck out a little bit. There is a crack here, but it's not a crack per se. It's not a crack in the steel. It's actually where it's been forge welded, and then here it's forge welded perfectly, and here it didn't forge weld properly. So it's been there for 70 years. It's just as old as the axe. Now, I like to have a nice shiny handle, and it proves itself how well it stands up, like my blacksmithing hammers handle. That's hickory, and I did the same process as this. What I'm going to do to this, and it's perfect. It stayed good. It's been in water. It's been out in the rain. Accidentally, I didn't mean to, but yeah, it's just stood up really well. So what I do is I go P240, P400. This is just grit. P600 and then P1200, and after that I buff it up and then put the linseed oil on. This stops you from having to linseed oil at every step. If you just buff it and then linseed oil, or before or after the buff, it actually leaves you with the same effect. So yeah, there's actually some debate whether or not the white heartwood's stronger than the brown wood or not. But to put it at rest, there's the exact same strength. I personally like having some of the white and some of the brown on it. It just makes it a nice contrast during the wood. Now after the 1200 grit, what I like to do is I like to use a green compound on a buffing wheel. Now I think a green compound's equivalent to about a 3000 grit, something like that. Anyway, when you're doing this, if you're doing it of course, don't hold it on the buffing wheel too long because it can burn the wood. So just give it a nice little quick buff, and besides that, pretty good. Now of course you can stop sanding all the way at about 240 grit. This is completely optional, but I like to have a nice smooth handle because I reckon it lasts longer, and it also allows you to whip the axe into the tree much harder because your hands can slide. Oh, we're going to be putting about 3 coats of this on at least, I reckon. Now, lighting's not too good at the moment, but that looks pretty good, I reckon. So the linseed oil is dry, and as you can see, it's still quite shiny. I tilt it into the light. Yeah, you can see it's still shiny, but it's dry. So now, one of the last steps, of course. You don't have to do this, it's just me. I'm going to burn in my runes up around here where it's white and brown. So I've put on my maker's mark, and now we're going to strop the edge. Just have a strop. What I like to have is a 2x4 like this one. That just allows you to get any edge angle and it won't be hitting anything. And the good thing about that is it's the exact same width as my strop. Now you're going to want one side that's going to have a compound on it. Now this is a super fine compound. It's I think about 5 to maybe 10,000 grit, and the this is just plain leather, and this is actually equivalent to about 100,000 grit. Any leather has microcarbons on it and stuff like that, so you can just use any piece of leather, but I just like having a nice drop because it's nice and thick and very strong. So thanks for getting this far in the video. If this helped, could you please like, comment, share, like, subscribe, all that stuff. It would really help me out. I'm going to try to keep a decent schedule this time and put out a few good, interesting videos of me blacksmithing and things like that. If you've got any suggestions of what I could do for a video in the comment section, post them. Anything, just anything randomly off your head as long as it's not porn. And yeah, so thanks guys. Hope this helped, and I'll be posting a demo of this axe in a few weeks. So thanks. You'll see it in action. That was a horrible pun, I'm sorry. I'll shut up now. See ya.